This is a special bonus episode of Many Realms in support of the Our Shores Kickstarter in partnership with Sandy Pug Games. 3 very cool games from the RPG Southeast Asian community have been bundled into one convenient Kickstarter, and you should definitely check them out, no matter when you listen to this. Stay tuned at the end of the episode for more details.
Hello everyone, my name is Jordan, and I today am playing Louis Stephenson. And it is wonderful to be here.
Hey, my name is Eli, and I play Freddy Encarnacion, and it's good to be here.
Hi, my name's Jesse. I play Evie Ramos, and it's good to be here.
Hi, I'm Jillian. I play Tangerine Wanda. It is good to be here.
Hi guys, I'm Wax, and I'm the Arbiter. Welcome to Many Realms.
We're playing Maharlika, designed by Joaquin Saavedra, aka Wax, a Filipino designer, writer, all-around cool cat, and illustrated by Michele Gio Manning, a Filipino-Canadian concept artist and illustrator. Let's jump into the game.
So Maharlika is a technomystic science fantasy mecha RPG that's inspired by Filipino mythology, centered around mecha, or mechanized weapons, and their pilots, the eponymous Maharlika. You guys will be playing as these titular spirit warriors that all swear loyalty to a Datu, so that you can protect the techno-spiritual galaxy known as Archipelago. As a Maharlika, you are going to venture out into space where you'll take on dangerous missions, fight for your ideals, and all that rad space warrior stuff. So in this particular adventure that you guys will be going through, you guys have been told by this SDSK. So SDSK is Sandatang Sangkatauhan, which kind of means humanity weapon or mankind weapon. And they're basically like the military faction of Maharlika. And you've been given this mission by an SDSK broker named Halmista, who is this old and tired and rugged old woman that you can kind of rely on. And you've been told there is a space station in the border marches of SDSK territory called Hudyat ng Wakas. But real quick, it's just called Hudyat. This space station used to be a stopover point for mercenaries and travelers and merchants on their way to BA territory. BA is the faction that is Bakunawang Armasan. They're kind of like the alien lovers faction. They like putting alien parts on their mecha. Being of SDSK build, the SDSK wanted you guys to investigate if there are any still living beings in the space station, because they are planning to reuse the construction materials. So we begin with you guys in the vastness and blackness of space. In a very kind of like Star Wars fashion, your ship like comes into view. It's this more or less just like a small trader class ship that you guys were loaned by SDSK. There's only 4 of you in this ship, and this ship is being autopiloted by a ship Dewata. So Dewata, think of them as just like artificial intelligence, but they're spirits. So they control both mecha as well as ships and more advanced computers in the setting. So the Dewata has given you your coordinates are set, your ETA is given. You'll be getting there in a few more hours. And as that's happening, the camera of course kind of like flashes into the ship's interior, and we see Tangerine. Tangerine, what would you be doing right now in the ship?
Probably swinging my axe around. I'm axe girl.
So your mecha has an axe, and you also have an axe.
Yeah, that's my melee weapon.
Personal branding is important.
Mm-hmm.
Who or what is most important to you? My weapon. My axe is my best friend. We understand each other.
Can you give like a real quick physical description of Tangerine?
Sure, I think for branding purposes, Tangerine
He
has...
looks like a giant axe.
Yeah.
No, I think she has like a cool asymmetrical bob of bright orange hair and wears like hot tactical gear, all black.
Very on brand, yeah. You have like an axe hairstyle.
Hair with an
It's
axe.
chopped, yeah.
Stupid.
It does
that's-
everything.
All right. So as Tangerine is swinging her axe around, presumably to, get the muscles ready for the mission.
Absolutely.
Louis, what are you doing right now? Where are you in the ship?
I'd be reading whatever the equivalent of Sherlock Holmes is.
Space Sherlock, yeah.
Sherlock.
Why would it be like...
Space Lock?
Sherlock.
Space Lock.
Because I don't know, that's what I just thought. And Louis is. I actually would like to, because you mentioned that there's a faction that has like alien parts that are essentially mixed in with tech.
Yep.
Is there any equivalent for that in terms of more of just like a human-sized thing? It'd be pretty great if he had like one hand that's kind of, this interesting tech/alien technology thing so that he's a bit more dexterous with it.
Yeah, definitely. You have that.
Nice.
You have that. So one of your hands has been replaced by, in this setting, they're called xeno beings because
Okay.
like they're like other beings. What does it look like? Is it like made of wood? Is it like made of like alien skin?
Oh, I didn't think wood. I love that. I love if it was like what would be considered like something that would be dumb, like it would just be non-functional.
Don't worry.
But if it was something that like was non-functional, but then with this like alien, I guess tech or organism attached to it, it's like more miraculously able to achieve things. And if it's like wood, it's like all stained and kind of gross, and then kind of, I'd say if it's wood, then towards the fingers they're probably like filed down to be something that could actually get into things and hold them better, because otherwise they'd be really blocky and hard to grab things.
Since it's xeno wood, would you think there would be like flowers growing on it or like grass?
Yes, that'd be
or
also
whatever?
great. What? This is
Cool.
wonderful. It's like little, like there's a whole little like biome on my arm. That's great.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
I read with that hand. And he's like a very tall, lanky individual who he's got a nice, sweet, long flowing lab coat, and kind of like shoulder length, longer, disheveled black hair. It's kind of like if you could imagine the hair equivalent of his arm, where it's like the arm is pretty because of all the things that have kind of seeped into it, but his hair is more just like matted and unkempt because he treats his hair the same way he treats his arm. And yeah, he's got his feet kicked up and he's reading.
It's weird, like Howl's moving space detection.
All right, that's perfect. Evie, you see Louis reading Howl's Moving Space Detective. What are you doing right now, and how do you look like?
Evie is the mechanic. She is short and tiny. She has kind of messy, like jaw-length chop of black hair. I think right now she is probably sprawled along the stairs of the hangar. And in my equipment, I brought a Kamsa mini balete and a pada. Can I be looking at memes?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm checking out some space memes, just kind of scrolling on the stairs, watching Wanda swing her axe around and watching Louis read non-meme literature, which is foreign to me.
All right, and finally, Freddie, where are you in the ship right now, and what are you doing?
Freddy is probably in some sort of common space, checking on his socials, can't update where they are because that would compromise things, but is like interacting everything is a chance to network. And is Evie around?
You just got a meme that I sent you that I thought you would like.
Nice.
Freddy gives it a good hearty chuckle. Freddy is tall, with tan skin and a very charming boyish face, handsome, incarnate. He has pushback hair that is dyed blonde, but the black roots are starting to show through.
All right. So as you guys are going about, your pre-game, your pre-mission routine, you are alerted by the ship's Diwata. It says, "Alert, objective inbound. Please report to the ship's bridge." Evie gets it while she's going through her memes, unfortunately.
That's fine. I work hard and I play hard. If it's time to do the job, I'll spring to my feet and head to the bridge.
As you arrive at the bridge, the visual feeds of the ship appears in front of you, and it shows you the front of the ship, of the trader class ship that you're riding on right now, and you see this rectangular-ish structure with like fading red paint on it. From the distance, you can see like the numbers and designations that is emblematic of SDSK. The ship's Dewata says, "The objective can now be seen in the visual feed. Welcome to SDSK Space Station Hudyat ng Wakas," otherwise known as Hudyat. The ship slowly enters into its arrival bay, to its hangar bay. It's open. The ship flies in. The four of you who are still on the visual feed notice that there are some old SDSK ships in here. They seem like they haven't been touched in years. When the ship lands and then the door opens and the stairs are rolled down, you can hear your footsteps echo.
This is kind of spooky. How long has Hujet been abandoned?
That information was not given to you by the broker.
Is that normal?
For a space station to be abandoned?
No, for us to just like be going in with so little information.
Yeah, for SDSK at least, for their older kind of like equipment, they don't have all the knowledge because there was the Megacorp Wars in the past. So that might have been during that time, and a lot of information got destroyed, a lot of data got lost.
Freddy never betrays his fear. And while a little bit spooked himself, he's definitely not as brave as he puts on. He tries to make some conversation. Evie, do you think there's anything here that you'd be able to scrap? Looks like there's some interesting parts.
Actually, yeah, I wouldn't mind taking a look at these older SDSK ships and seeing if they have anything to offer.
I have a lore question.
Sure, go ahead.
So if all these ships have Diwata, how long would that stay in a ship if it's been abandoned?
Ship Dewata usually have like a lifespan of 50 to 100 functional years, after which the sort of chamber that keeps them in, if it's not regularly maintained by shamans, it breaks open and the spirit goes back to the spirit world. So you can also look around if you want to see if there are any Dewata left in the ship, or since everything has a Dewata, the space station itself might have a Dewata surrounding it.
I'm sorry, are Dewata are they sentient? Do they have desires or no?
Dewata can have desires, but not all of them do. It's a per Dewata basis.
Yeah, I was just wondering if this is literally a ship full of weird spirit ghosts.
Oh, there's ghosts, baby.
Evie, you were trying to sift through the ships, if there's anything that you can...
Yeah, primarily focusing on salvage, but also any clues if I come across them.
I'll let you roll real quick so that everyone knows how to roll as a Maharlika. So Maharlika rolls differently from Mecha. Maharlika rolls are more narrative, so think of them more like Powered by the Apocalypse or Blades in the Dark kind of rolls. Roll 1d10. And then if any trait is relevant to what you're doing, you can add that. You can tell it to me.
Evie is from Atanara. She is a tinkerer, a mechanic, an inventor. So I don't know if you would allow for that to assist me in searching for salvage. That would love a little bit of boost to open up my first roll in this game.
That would. Yeah, that's perfect. So if you have a trait that's relevant, you get to roll with +1 suerte. So suerte means, luck. If you roll with suerte, you add another d10. So you roll 2d10 and then choose the higher one.
Let's do it. Okay, that's a 6,
6. All right.
which I think is maybe just barely a pass.
Yeah, 6 is a partial success. You go around the ship, you open ships. Some ships are already open. There's some dust that has settled when you walk into some of them. And eventually, you do find there's still some working equipment that's like hidden away in like trays and box and reserve crates. You find an SDSK item actually called Lunas. So the SDSK Lunas is a line of battle meds made by SDSK themselves. Whenever you use this, you can restore your Maharlika's ST or stability. So that's kind of like the HP in the setting. Additionally, you do find a broken Dewata cage in one of the ships. So yeah, you walk out, you have that in your hands. What do you do?
Hey kids, I found some candy.
Great work. Is Evie like new to this?
Yeah, I think she's a newer Maharlika. I think she tries to keep like a very like bright tone as she's on a mission. And she also has some like healing abilities, so I think she'll hang on to the battle meds and she'll say, if any of you get in a scrape, I'm your girl.
Abandoned, dusty old meds. Well, I think if I'm in a scrape, I will take a pass, even if that's okay with you.
Go whittle your hand.
Freddie says, well, I'm not gonna say no to any meds, dusty or not, so thank you.
The expiry's not for 2 more years. What's wrong with you guys? You never took strange drugs you found on a ship before?
Abandoned ship in which we don't know what happened. Could
Derelict drugs are the best.
be death by drugs. We don't know.
All right. How about Tangerine? How is Tangerine reacting to all this?
I think Tangerine is a very guarded person, so I think she's very much like anticipating that anything could be jumping out from behind a ship or a crate or whatever at any turn. So she's probably like, "Do you three want to keep it down?"
Why? You afraid of something gonna jump out and attack you, Tangy?
Hey, if that happens, are you ready?
Freddie shouts, I don't think anyone's here!
Well, only one way to find out. I set off.
I'll follow.
Yeah, we're going exploring.
All right. As you guys walk deeper, so there's like a hallway that leads deeper into the space station, and eventually you find a large hall that's been kind of like titled Arrival Quarters. And as you arrive at the Arrival Quarters, you find that there are many left behind stalls and booths, like the kind you'd see at like a night market, but like imagine a night market without lights and people. There's still some leftover oil that was supposed to like cook, street fried chicken or something. There's some unclean takoyaki stands. There's some clothes that are like, they're still for sale. Like they're still just hanging there. It feels like the people here, or that used to be here, suddenly just left everything behind somehow. As you walk through this Arrival Quarters, surrounded by the echoes of the past choking and haunting, only ones privy to this knowledge are the cockroaches and spiders that have found a way to survive in the stagnant air recycled within. Louis finds a map, kind of like pinned between booths, as if it's like an afterthought. Like they got the map and they kind of like shoved it in there. You find it, and it looks more like a brochure for an amusement park. It says that the Arrival Quarters leads to the main sort of recreational living area in the middle of the space station, and it's filled with numerous landmarks and attractions. So there's 5 major landmarks that you can go to. There is the 22B diner. There is the mother tree in the middle of the space station. There is the hangar, which you would assume would have the mecha within. There's the park, and then there is the guardian room.
Since we only have so little time with these characters, I'm making bold choices. I've decided that Louis now has a particular like plant growth on his arm that he believes to be like sentient, although it's never given any indication of that. He's named it Christian, and so as he walks in, he's like, "Christian, do you see this? It's some kind of fair or something. Seems like it could be a lot of fun in its day. Now, see, I can take people going missing, ships breaking down, but a takoyaki stand unmanned, unconsumed is... I don't know, Christian." And sits down as he looks at the brochure on said stand.
Is this a new growth?
No, it would have been like, I think it's like one of the firsts that has now, flourished into just like, it's probably like a flower of some kind. That definitely can't hear him.
Yeah.
Hey, detective, you find anything good?
Because I'm a detective, I'm innately gifted at making paper airplanes. And so I paper airplane the brochure and throw it at you. And it comes up about 10 feet short. I decided I also...
You're innately okay at making
I
paper
quickly
airplanes.
was like, wait a minute. Never mind. And that was my self-perception. That was role-playing. I thought I was really good, and I just went for it.
A little masterclass.
Lord, okay. Sure. Wanda will snatch up the brochure, open it up. Well, lots of places to go. Where should we go first?
I think sometimes, surprisingly, Freddy takes his Maharlika duties seriously. And he wants to get down to business. First, he wants to maybe go to the mother tree and pay some respects.
Sure. Also, does it look like people calmly exited the arrival quarters, or are things like tossed and jostled like people were running out of here?
No, everything is kind of like, they're in place.
Okay, like the people just like disappeared and everything has just stayed there.
Yeah, as if the rapture happened.
Got it. Okay, to the mother tree.
All right, so you guys walk out into the main recreational area, the living space in the middle of the space station. It's large. Imagine like Central Park, kind of like that. And in the middle of it is supposed to be the mother tree. But the first thing you notice is that it's been cut down. Well, not cut down, more like it broke in half, like it snapped in half. But this is the thick tree, right? It's a giant tree. It snapped in half, fell to its side. On top of the mother tree, you can see the mini sun that provided the warmth for the people here in the space station, kind of like, fizzling in and out of existence.
What happened here?
Freddy offers a prayer.
Yeah, I think Evie's kind of wigged out. She's like, this is weird. What exactly went on?
Well, Louis, being the expert detective that he is, rather than gawking at it, walks up to
You got a problem, man.
Well, we balk at it.
Am I able to access like where it's been severed?
What do you mean by access?
Like, is it, because since you said it's huge, like, did it split kind of close enough to the ground that I could just kind of climb and examine where it actually has been severed? Or is it like halfway up and so it's like I'd have to climb it?
It is halfway up, yeah. So you'd have to climb it.
Oof, well, I'm a galaxy's greatest detective, not the galaxy's greatest climber. So I guess I turn to Tangerine, who I presume, axes climbing, like they're kind of adjacent. You use axes to climb sometimes.
Hey, guess what? I chose adhesive as part of my gear.
Oh,
Well, my expert detective skills,
knew that.
they serve me well once again.
My extra skills when I rummaged through your luggage on our way here.
I cast spider climb on myself and I climb up the tree.
You get up on top of the tree. It's not hollow, for sure. So you can like walk around on top of the tree. It's large enough. And here, the strange thing that you do notice is that the inside of the tree is blackened. Like you can't see like the flesh, you can't see like the rings. It's all just black as if it's been charred. Additionally, from up here, you can sort of notice two other rooms, and they have like flashing neon signs as well. The one to your left says hangar, and the one to your right says the 22B diner. It has a B on it. If you've ever seen Jollibee, it's
I was
kind of
gonna
like
say,
that.
is this Jollibee?
It's Space Jollibee. So yeah, what do you guys do?
What do you see up there?
The inside of the tree is charred.
Like it was burned in half? Would that be something that could be a result of the sun malfunctioning?
It could be, yeah.
I'm a mechanic and I know this, and I say that, and I say maybe there was a problem with the power supply or life support and everyone just bailed.
But it looks like everybody just disappeared.
Yeah, they didn't take their ships with them. Maybe there's a problem with their life support and then their lives became, unsupported.
And their bodies?
As an extension of that. Yeah, the bodies. Well, there's a few more rooms.
Maybe one of the Diwata around can tell us about this, and Freddy does a big stretch. You see his tummy a little.
Oh. Okay. Oh, is that your... you weren't going to do anything about it. You were just going
I
to show me
was
your tummy.
stretching. I was saying, let's move on.
I got it.
Is the other half of the tree just on the ground and I don't have to climb?
Yeah, it's giant. So like if you get closer to the base of the tree, the one that's still on the ground, you can see like the other half of the tree is like charred similarly to the one on top.
I have first a pitch of what I wanted a piece of equipment to be, and then I guess if I have that, what I could do after, which I wanted to have like a magnifying glass that just has like, it has like the one that's normal, and then it just has like a bunch of pieces of glass that like slot in front of it to enhance the zoom like over and over until it's kind of like a comical size of just like glass, where you kind of would be like, why would you not just have like not this? But that's what I have.
Yeah, you have that.
Amazing. I was wondering if I could perhaps, I don't know if it'd be a roll or whatever, if I could investigate the actual charring and try and deduce the source rather than like the, we're speculating sun, or was it like cut through?
Yeah, that would most likely be a roll, a Maharlika roll. So you roll 1d10. And then if you have any traits that would add on to that, you add it as another d10.
What can I do? Finding stuff. I'm good at spotting details, at finding things, at making sure no rock is unturned.
All right, yeah, definitely.
Turn
That's
some
perfect.
rocks.
So you said there's 2d10, they're just advantages basically?
Yeah, it's the advantage basically.
That's a 7.
All right, yeah. That's a partial success. So, you do the thing, you look into the charred base of the tree. And the first thing you notice is that, in your adventures as a Maharlika and, as a detective,
In that order.
you would know, what usual charred trees look like. Those affected by fire or like by high heat, at least. This was affected by high heat. There's something else mixed into it that you can't quite identify right now.
So like there's like a
looking
weird pattern or something that makes it clear to me that it's not like a clean cut but done by something.
Yeah. It actually kind of looks like, how like when cloth gets like frayed, it kind of looks like that.
Oh, okay.
Like there's that kind of pattern around the tree.
I relay that loudly to Christian, which is my way of talking to the rest of the party and relaying that information.
Hey, great work, Louis.
All in a day's work for the greatest detective in the galaxy.
Yeah, so that's helpful. We can kind of start anywhere. I'm realizing now that none of us can talk to the Diwata, right?
Yeah, we're fucked.
If anyone has any better ideas, it's fine, but I want to look at the diner.
Let's do it.
I want to hang upside down on the tree and like walk down it, but upside down because I'm a show off.
Nice.
Freddy takes a very cool picture of Tangerine because I think in his social media life they get along.
Damn, I really hope there's nothing deadly on this ship, because we're quite the rowdy bunch that I think would, except for Jillian, die to something. So
Don't worry, guys. Combat's where I shine.
Anyway, you do arrive at the diner. It's a nice diner. There's booths and everything. The chairs are like not the industrial kind, but like the really jolly kind. like the joyful kind that has like hamburger decorations on them.
Cute.
But it's stained, and the steel is rusting, and you can see when you guys like walk in, you do notice little creatures. You can imagine like the Kodama from Princess Mononoke. They kind of look like that, but with like white glowing eyes. And then when they see you, sentient beings walking in, they all tilt their heads to the side. You notice that their bodies are like dark brown, almost the color of rust or muddy water. And then staring at you as you like walk closer to them, they all like disappear, as if they were never there in the beginning. Like they don't leave any traces behind.
Found some ghosts for you.
This place gives me the creeps.
Do we know what that is like in a, what's the word? Any mythological sense, like our greater common knowledge?
Those are, you would all know that those are Dewata, basically. Those are dirt Dewata, dust Dewata, rust Dewata, all just hanging around. Which all Dewata do. They just hang around where they're born from. One thing you do notice from the diner is a poster. It's beaten down, it's worn down, and it showcases one of these like large robotic figures. Anyone who has the SDSK Baluti notice that it looks similar to that. Just a bit more rudimentary or crude, not as polished or as sleek as your modern versions. On top of that poster, there is the word "Guardians here to protect."
Hey, Louie, those look kind of familiar.
Yes, they certainly do.
It's not quite as shiny as the ones you and I have, but I guess this is where it all started.
Yes. Young girl Evie, could I borrow you for a moment?
Can you say please? I'll wait.
Come on, just say it.
Mechanic girl, could you please come lend me your aid? I am unable to decipher. Just please.
Just a name, Louie.
Evie, please.
Evie sarcastically curtsies and strolls over to Louie and Tangerine Wanda at the poster. What are we looking at here?
Well, I was hoping that your insights granted by your modest profession would be able to glean something from what stands before us.
Yeah, I see that it's the Balagi,
Yeah.
but it's older. Am I able to sort of like date this model more precisely because I'm familiar with working on mecha?
Yeah, definitely. You know that Baluti over there is showcasing one of the first few runs of the Bagani before they had Dewata piloting them.
How old would that be?
I think it'll be like 100 years ago.
Yeah, I lean in and examine the faded poster and I say, yeah, this is ancient. This is actually a pre-Dewati model. Pilots are running this solo, baby.
Wow.
Could you imagine? It's, like prehistoric.
Freddy is like rummaging through the kitchen looking for some secret tutubi recipes and is like flipping something in his hand and is like, sounds like we could actually probably get some pretty cool parts for you guys. Stuff that they don't make anymore. Maybe Evie could overclock it or something. She seems really talented.
Yeah, if they still have some gas mainline pieces around here, you can get really great turbo off them, but you need to do a little bit of modification to get it up to standard with the latest frames. But, I mean, give me a few hours, I can make it happen.
Well, if we're here for resources, why don't we look for him in the hangar?
If I recall, we're here to find out what happened, and everything else is tertiary.
It's just dust Dewata staring you down. It's all we've seen so far.
Yeah, and Louie, you never take a souvenir?
He stares at his arm. Do not.
Freddy coughs like I'm calling your bullshit very subtly.
We should continue our investigations. This rickety mess could fall apart at any time.
Yeah, I don't love spending time here. We should make a quick job of it. Freddy, are you done stuffing your face in the kitchen or whatever?
He pulls out a piece of paper and he's like, It's their peach mango recipe. Stuffs it in his coat.
All right. You got the peach mango recipe.
Nice. Lee, we gotta get out of here before I'm sure that there's gonna be some type of military conflict over this recipe. So we should probably get out of here.
It's an international
You don't know how good it
importance,
is.
yeah.
So you guys get out of the diner. Now that you're back in the sort of the central hub of the station, where do you guys go?
I think we should go to the hangar and see if there are any mecha there.
The four of you make your way over to the hangar room. The opening for the hangar room is much larger than the other rooms, of course, because they would be keeping their mecha within. When you walk in, the first thing that you notice, other than the echoing of your feet, is that there are no mecha here in the hangar. So that's one thing that you notice. The other thing that you notice is a green person, like more like green water in the shape of a human, sitting by the steps that lead up to another room.
I think I'm the first one who walks in, and I'm like so excited about the prospect of getting some like salvage from these mecha that I don't even think about finding people on this station anymore. So I just stop, and I'm very loud, like, "Oh shit!"
Freddy puts a kind of like calming hand on your back that's kind of like, let's be calm, like, let's not freak this thing out.
Sorry, I just was not. Were you expecting this?
No. But Freddy starts very slowly walking towards it.
Louis is just like wide-eyed, so like enamored by this. He turns to Freddy and goes, "Your phone. Give me your phone."
You might scare it away.
I need a photo. This is a discovery. I need your phone. I need a photo.
I flip it over to you.
I snap a couple pics and email them to myself and pass it back.
Okay, I think I'm getting pretty close to it.
Once Freddy gets close to the humanoid being, it turns to you and it just kind of smiles, like a really sad smile, actually. It's like a wistful, longing kind of smile. And then, before you know it, he dissipates into a flurry of particles, of Diwa particles. By the way, the steps he was sitting on leads to the guardian room.
We really should have taken a D-Well
Yeah.
Bill day.
Someone should have been able to talk to them.
We're like Ghostbusters with no proton packs. We're just like out here. How could we best determine like what kind of being this was, or like what happened here? I mean, there's no mecha here, which is like weird. Does it look like anything has happened? Like the ships were still abandoned? Is this room as dusty? Are there signs of any activity here?
You do notice that the things that are holding the mecha stands, have been like opened. So that kind of tells you that there were mecha here before, but they were launched. Additionally, the four of you would know that would be a Dewata.
Right.
A Dewata of what, you're not sure entirely.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't seen any algae Tilwadi yet, so I don't know. Would there be any like computerized records of something like an operation of launching mecha? Like, is there any terminal in the hangar? I'm picturing like all of the systems that like Ritsuko oversees in NGE, where she's like tracking all these levels of like the fluid and everything. Like, there's got to be some place where this information was centralized.
Yeah, actually, the steps that the Dewata was sitting on, it does kind of like T into like two rooms. So one goes into a guardian room, and then the one does go into like sort of like the control, the control slide. Once you get into there, most of the terminals, the consoles and all, don't have power anymore. So they're all like collecting dust.
I have a Kamsa Sabwat, which is like, there's like a, I'm sure you know, but there's like a minor Dewata in it that can collect intel. So presumably I can communicate with that. So can... Oh, damn, I could have been using that. That's my bad. That's my bad, y'all.
Yeah, don't worry. You can say that the Dewata only woke up
Okay.
now.
Cool.
You had forgotten. It also seems fair that we could like garner a hypothesis that this is theoretically a way that why there'd be all the shoes and like as if people just vanish into thin air, obviously. So I suppose that's like a working in theory thing.
What, you think they all got turned into Dewata?
Louis doesn't know how that's possible, perhaps, but it's something that is obviously a quick way to rationalize it without, really drawing that line in the sand.
Is that something that can or does happen?
Probably not to our knowledge, but that's the thing, Intergalactic discovery. I've seen a lot of stuff.
I power on my subwhat, and I don't know. It's like a sleepy, glowing ball. Is that okay to say?
Yeah, your drone floats up. You know how like some like those electronic masks that has like electronic faces on them that like
Nice.
pops up, and it goes, "Greetings, good morning, Freddy. How may I help you today?" What name did you give your console subwhat?
I call it my little puto.
Puto. All right. Good morning, Freddy. Puto at your service. It's like, and then it like makes like a really happy face on its like electronic face.
I pat him on the head.
This is Eli's dream
This
come
is my
true.
dream. This is all I want. Puto, can you go and see if there's any other Dewata out there for you to make friends with? We want to know what happened here.
Will do. And then it kind of like closes down a bit, and then you can feel like your fingertips get all fuzzy, and then it opens up again. It goes, "There is one living Dewata left in the guard room."
Okay, Freddy, we'll start walking.
Wait, what if we go in there and it just tries to fly away again?
Good point. I guess maybe our best shot is to show it that we're here to help, put it to rest, and find out what happened. Thoughts?
I concur. Fear is the enemy of discovery.
Evie makes a good point. We can't afford to scare this one away. How do we be less intimidating?
I could wait outside.
Nice.
That would be less intimidating, yeah.
Freddy's like, maybe we just put the axe in the... Any motions to your axe holster.
Tangerine does a really big sigh, sticks it back on her back.
Let's just, you know what, we startled it last time. We're just going to go in calm, friendly, smiling, and get it to tell us what the fuck's going on here.
All right. The first thing that you notice as you get out of the control panel area and move over to the guardian room is that the guardian room's like doorway is huge, right? Like it's not made for humans, and you find there are still functioning Diwa generators in here. So Diwa generators are kind of like the resource used to generate electricity and stuff like that. You can feel the hum of the Diwa generators as you walk in. That's the first thing. The second thing is that you smell flowers immediately. The third thing is that you feel wind, fresh wind, as opposed to the stagnant air outside in the space station. And finally, the fourth thing that you notice is that other than the hall having this weird quality of having grass and foliage growing over to the far side of the room are trees. Like these huge trees, not as large as a mother tree, but they're these huge trees that are hollowed out, and within them are these Bagani-looking figures. They're even as tall as the SDSK Bagani. You notice that there's like at least 10 of them arrayed on that far side of the room, and that 9 of them are broken in some way or another. Like their head has been caved in, or like their arms have been destroyed, ripped out of their circuitry. The one in the middle though, the 10th one, still has a glowing eye, glowing blue. Puto, it kind of like it quirks up and it kind of like scans real quick the figures that are inside the tree, and it says, "Scan complete. These are SDG Unit Kawal, versions of what would eventually become the SDSK Bagani." What do you guys do?
We should go investigate these mecha and figure out what's going on. I start crossing the room and I'm like, this is so weird. I've never seen anything like this before.
How perceptible is this like glowing eye? Is that like only like, really looking closely, or is it like very clear from across this whole, section that that is happening.
You can notice it from across the room, but it's kind of like just like glowing really passively, as if it's breathing.
Okay, now is the point maybe where Freddy is like, maybe now I should focus up. Pulls out his bow, maybe? I don't know, maybe I don't want to threaten it, but...
Well, I'm reaching the kawa on the other side of the room, and I want to see if I can understand, like, just like what happened here. Were they destroyed where they are? Are these like graves? Like, what is the significance of this place?
All right, you can see that the ones that are not moving within their like tree housings, they have like pipes and wires like connected to them. So these probably aren't graves. These are like where they're stored, more or less. You can tell that.
But it's like not heard of for there to be mecha that are so like organically infused. Like, this is an unusual sight, right?
Not exactly. I mean, it happens with other mecha units. But you know, being left here like this is definitely something that doesn't happen.
Then I want to look at the one that still has power and see what I can learn about it.
All right. Before we get to that, what do Tangerine and Louie do?
I mean, this is kind of like a really old version of the same kind of mech that I have, and I'm really curious about what it's like on the inside. Like, I want to get inside this thing, right? If we were seeing posters for this Baluti, like with no Diwata, and now we're like seeing this kind of magical place where some of them do have Diwata. It's like, was this some kind of like testing, where was this like them trying to like get the Diwata in the Baluti? Like, I have a lot of questions, so I want to get inside the robot.
All right, so you'd be up there with Evie,
Yeah.
right? All right, how about Louie?
Louis is wanting to investigate whichever one, probably the one that you mentioned that has its head kind of somewhat crushed, to see if there's any tool marks, weapon marks, something that can be deduced and traced to, you know, whether it was something blunt, something sharp, another like baluti, or what it could have been, or if it was, you know, I don't know, a section falling on top of it, whatever it was, to try and see what history you can garner from looking at them.
Most of them look like they were casualties of like falling debris and destroyed, like from something that might have happened in the long past. There's at least one that has like a decapitated head that looks like it's been chopped by a sword of a mecha. But other than that, they're victims of something that happened in the past.
It seems odd, and maybe not though. It seems odd that they're all like kind of in their respective, I guess, stations.
Yeah, it makes me think that someone came in and like killed them while they were sleeping.
But yeah, because it's like there's also like signs of battle or struggle perhaps, but they're all, you know, safely where they're supposed to be, rather than, you know, anywhere else on the ship or anywhere else, you know, that we would expect them to be. They're all kind of here.
How about Freddy? What is Freddy doing?
I think Freddy is wary. He's not fully getting into the mechs, but he's sort of on alert. You know, checking if anybody comes in, checking if the Diwata like shows itself in a more material or like bodily form. I guess he's ready.
All right, cool. Evie and Tangerine, since you're the closest to the one living, it stops its passive breathing of blue light and becomes like a solid hard light, and it turns to look at the two of you, and it goes, "Living humans, identify yourself."
Tangerine Wanda, SDSK, Maharlika.
Evie Ramos, Kamsa Maharlika, at your service?
Its eyes turn red. "It is not safe outside here in the space station. The missiles explode in the space beyond, and then it raises a hand, and it starts fizzing with blue light. He fires something at the space where you were, but both of you manage to jump out of the way. And that space looks like it's been completely charred up, sort of kind of similar to the charring that you saw on the mother tree. As that happens, the self-defense mechanisms of your mecha kick in, and they fly in from outside the space station into the hangar. And then as they're sliding across the ground, their hatches open up, their cockpits open up, and they take you and they put you inside. You would have to roll initiative, but right now it doesn't matter since you guys kind of have initiative. The first round of combat starts with the activation phase. You choose which one of you moves first, among the four of you. So who wants to go first amongst you?
Me with my giant axe.
All right, go ahead, Jillian. The important thing about the activation phase is that it's where you move. If you want to move, you can move a number of spaces or squares equal to your Baluti's speed, if I remember correctly. All right, so would you like to move this activation phase?
Yeah, I'm a melee fighter, so I need to get pretty close to this thing if I want to use all my cool stuff. But it has horrible lasers, so I will hide behind something, I guess, on my way there.
All right, who activates next?
Evie, because she was right beside me.
Yeah, I think our best bet is to start flanking this thing. We don't know how it's going to move. We don't know what capabilities it has.
Who activates next?
I think that Louis is the closest and would be the first besides us to notice what's going on.
Okay. Is there anything in terms of having to be concerned about destroying this space and being sucked into the endless vacuum of space and dying?
No, you're pretty deep into the space station.
Okay, great. I'd like to take a little bit of cover there. I have a missile launcher that has 15 reach, which seems, I think, enough there.
Yep, that reaches, definitely.
Okay, so for attack rolls it is...
You roll a d20, and then you basically try to roll over their evade, or their AC. But you'll do that later during the action phase.
Okay.
I guess the last activation is Pandan.
Pandan, I think, was kind of already ready with his bow, but then switches to activate dog program. So another drone with some other dessert name.
Muffin.
So I deploy Muffin and follows my every command. So I guess the command is attack right now.
All right. During the upkeep phase, which comes after action phase, you may move that drone 6 spaces. And then he starts lumbering forwards towards you, uttering out, "It is dangerous in the station. It is dangerous in the station."
No kidding.
All right, and then action phase starts. Tangerine, as you burst into action, describe your mechas for us.
Yeah, so from my understanding, these are kind of person-shaped mechs. My mech is called XYZ because I have a thing about axes. The plural of axis is axes. And I thought it was a clever joke. And it's got a big ray axe. So I'm hoping that I will eventually get close enough to be able to chop this thing up like some fresh wood.
All right.
How close can I get to this thing?
You can actually boost. You can fire up your thrusters and move equal to your speed +2. So you can move up to 6 spaces. And then during an action phase, you can choose 2 actions. So you can actually boost up to his face and attack him.
I want to get out my ray axe.
So yeah, go ahead and roll your ray axe. You swing your ray axe. It kind of it does that lightsaber thing where it hums in the air as you swing it. So you're gonna want to roll 1d20, add one of your mecha skills, which is coordination.
So I have +1 coordination. Not great. That's an 8.
An 8. It sees your ray axe coming, and it kind of ejects this holographic shield that bumps the axe away, and then it just closes it back in.
Cool. The ray axe has the secure tag, which I believe does 1 damage even on a miss.
That's right. Yep. You can see that there is some fraying on the arm that you hit. And it repeats the words, the space station is not safe. The space station is dangerous.
You're the danger, sir.
So it's his turn now. It turns to you and like tries to blast you with a quick flash of that burning blue light. It'll roll against your evade. What's your evade?
10.
He rolls the 19.
Ouch.
He deals 4 material damage to you.
Does it matter, like, material or energy damage?
Some like a game that can give you like resistance against material and energy damage and stuff like that. All right, go Evie.
Evie pilots a mech called Black Spark. You know, she's the mechanic and she takes a big pride in the appearance of her mech. It's a support mech. It has like a lot of useful mechanical gadgets and gizmos. It's also equipped with a nice big honking mech pistol for when she needs to get it out of scrapes. And it has a cool matte black finish with like delicate yellow accents. Yeah, I want to set up for a maneuver on my next turn, so I think now I am just going to boost. There's an Agimet I want to use in the next upkeep phase, but until then, I think I'm just going to try to get it off of XYZ by attacking it with my mech pistol, which has a reach of 5, which I think should be okay.
Yep, it is. Go ahead.
For a ranged weapon, is that still with coordination?
Yes, it is still a coordination.
That's a raw 17 though, baby.
That's a hit. How much damage?
The mech pistol deals 3 material damage.
It tries to raise its hand to block your pistol's bow, but then it ricochets off of its armor. There's a dent in it now. Some paint has been scraped off. Some moss flies out from the hit.
I show up on comms and I'm like, yeah, this guy's not so tough. Let's do it.
And the next would be him. He looks at the wound that you gave it, and then looks up at you, raises its hand, and fires another one of those hand lasers. And this is against your evade. He rolled a 1, so it doesn't hit. How do you evade this, Black Spark?
Maneuverability is one of my like +1 mecha skills, so I do think Black Spark is very light and nimble, and I think as soon as I take the shot with my mech pistol, it's just part of one fluid motion to kind of crouch and make myself small and pull away from where I know the shot's going to be. This guy's, you know, he's big, but he's also old, and he's probably pretty slow.
Alright, next is Nami.
Yeah, so Louis pilots Nami, which is a STS-K Pagani, perhaps being the antithesis of Eevee. No flash. It's a plain gray, like the stock steel color, and this may prove not the best decision for this combat. But Louis only really put in. Like there's a healing system, speed system, all like maneuverability and survivability, and then through reluctance eventually added a missile launcher, which in this particular instance is not going to help much because missile launchers have splash damage and would very much hit XYZ now in the position of melee range. Nami's going to move next to XYZ, putting himself somewhat in the line of fire, but being in close proximity to lend aid in the upkeep phase.
Alright, Pandan.
Freddy has like a bit of an idol, influencery type personality, very flashy, so Pandan sort of mimics that. It's like, as you can imagine, like a Pandan leaf color, so it's green, and it's covered in stickers or like of what's it called, his sponsors,
yeah,
which typically tend to be like cafes, like space Twinkies.
You're really running out of desserts.
And he's got this very like, you know when idols have like a very angelic persona, so his bow, it kind of looks like this like heavenly harp.
That's perfect.
That's so good.
I love it. Yeah. What does Pandan do?
Pandan was going to shoot with the bow of gods and muses, which is just a cool laser bow.
Alright, that's your Gahum system. So Gahum system can only be used like once per rest, basically. It's kind of like you overcharging your mech systems and using the Gahum. Gahum is Bisaya for power. Using the Gahum to like, it's basically just spiritual ults, basically.
Cool. So, yeah, Freddy fires this laser. I guess I'll roll to see if it hits.
Once you activate this, you can it only goes off on your next action phase because you're charging the bow.
Got it. Okay, so it's 14.
Yeah, that's a hit.
So it will hit, but it hasn't yet.
Yeah, it'll on the next turn. Okay, so we move into upkeep phase. Same thing. This upkeep phase is more similar to activation phase than action phase. So all you guys move first, and then he moves after you guys. So XYZ on upkeep phase, what do you do? If you have any Agimat that activates on the upkeep phase, you can use it now.
I guess I will stride.
You can't stride if you've stride in the upkeep phase.
Okay. So I'm just like ready to fight, ready to move when I'm allowed to do that. So I don't think there's anything in the upkeep phase that I can actually do.
All right, Black Spark.
I am going to activate my support Agimat, which is Magic Medicine Healing. It's a burst heal, and because I have the trait of the Albulario is shaping area of effects, so I am going to heal XYZ and make sure that none of those precious ST are restored to this baddie. So you restore 2 ST.
All right, that's perfect. That's what the Albulario was made for. So you kind of like raise your Agimat, starts shooting out Diwa particles that start stitching together XYZ's mecha.
Nice. Yeah, it's such a cool Baluti. I really like it.
Next is Nami.
I'm going to use Magnanimous Grace, which is in the upkeep phase. I can choose a mecha within reach, so I'm glad that Jillian opted to not leave, so that their next attack is +1 Suerte.
God bless.
Perfect. So Suerte is basically advantage. So you roll 2d20. Yeah. Pandan.
Pandan can finally shoot.
Shoot that bow.
So deals 10 energy damage if it hits, and pushes the target 1d4 spaces.
Well, it's huge.
10 damage?
It's like a lance of lightning. All right. Roll 1d4 and see how many spaces it moves back.
3.
3. All right. That's a lot. It goes 1, 2, and stops here. It slams against that foliage-covered stone, frayed at its shoulder, and you can see like the spirit circuitry, like little tendrils of light, kind of like reaching out and not finding any other tendrils of Diwa. For his upkeep phase, it doesn't do anything. He actually like stares at the wound that he has. His solid red light on his eye kind of like wavers just a bit. All of you can see it is more or less close to, getting destroyed. Well, not destroyed, but like out of commission. And with that knowledge, we move into another activation phase, XYZ.
I think I can get here, which isn't quite behind it, but I'll take it. So this is an activation phase, so I can move and attack, correct?
Yep, you're all striding. All right, who moves next?
I mean, Black Spark said they had a plan, so I still choose you.
Right, so the positioning's not too great, but we'll see what we can do. I'm going to move closer to it, and then I'm going to use my oil road and start sliming up the joint behind me, creating a slick area that he will not be able to escape from eventually.
Okay, choose who will go next.
Evie's definitely fangirling. Also, she just saw the idol of Atanara use his like signature bow of the muses, and she's like, "Oh my god, I love it when he uses the bow. Nice shot, Freddy. Go for it." And I want Freddy to go next.
Thanks, Evie. Can't attack yet, so I will use my movement system, which is the Lupang Lakas Neuro system.
Mm-hmm.
And it lets you stride. If you stride at least 3 spaces before you attack, you add +2 to the next damage you deal. So I have a movement speed of 6, so I'm gonna move 6 spaces.
Nami.
I guess after seeing some crazy lasers, Naomi takes slight cover in an adjacent moldy section that's fallen apart. Uses his expert detective skills to deduce whether we'll live, and retreats.
Okay, on his upkeep phase, still repeating that same line as if a mantra, he starts moving forward towards Nami. XYZ, that does trigger your Overwatch, so you can actually attack it as it moves past you.
Okay, cool.
And you have 1 suerte, if I remember correctly. So you roll 2d20 and then take the higher.
Okay, I'm basically taking like an attack of opportunity with my ray axe as it tries to escape me. Oh, okay. Well, I knocked over a lot of things, but one of those was a 16. Plus 1, I guess, for CRD.
That's a hit. How much damage?
Oh, a lot. So the Ray Axe does 3 energy damage, but my Collagio trait, I have a Violencer spirit in my mech called Clementine, and that gives me Hunt of Aswang, which means if the enemy is alone and there's no one next to it except for me, I get an additional +2 damage.
That's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage. That's 5 damage.
Your axe kind of rips through his like moss-covered exoskeleton, and you can see more spirit circuitry just underneath his armor. Action phase begins. XYZ, what do you do?
Okay, so I just did this big, cool, like, swing thing. I, like, swung my axe around the head of my mech and slammed into this thing. And then I think with the other hand, I just want to pull out my pistol, because that has a reach of 5, and try that. And that is a 9.
9 does not hit, unfortunately. He, like, moves a bit to the side as your axe's energy rays kind of, like, burn into his exoskeleton, and that makes him dodge the bullet. Black Spark.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, we're doing okay in this fight. I'm just going to go for it with my mech pistol again.
Go ahead.
That's a 15.
That's a hit. You actually shoot it like in one of its eye holsters. You see the light kind of like crack spiderweb. All right, Pandan.
I'm gonna hope that Muffin can also attack.
Yeah,
So I'm going to throw my Knife of the Wind.
go ahead. If it's accurate, you get 1 suerte.
Cool. It is accurate.
She's got 20.
20!
All right. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, you throw the Knife of the Wind. It whips out of a holster from your mech, and it bites against the exoskeleton of the guardian. It actually falls to one knee, and then it like with still red eyes, it looks at Nami. Nami, what do you do?
Being an expert detective, intergalactically known for my perception and my abilities, Louis is quite capable of noticing that this is a golden opportunity. And the 2 rectangular boxes on his shoulders open like Venetian blinds, revealing 2 large missile launchers, and he slams the big red button inside of his mech and launches all of them at once at the face of this thing.
Like a detective would.
Yes.
Yeah.
You roll with suerte because he is weakened.
Nice. 15.
All right, that's a hit. How does your attack put the guardian out of commission?
I like to think that because it seems to be quite resilient, the missiles themselves, yes, they cause damage, but I'd say that a stray one, somehow through sheer luck, makes its way into like the inside, past whatever like the chassis has been, and you can kind of hear it like ricocheting around the inside, perhaps comically, before it presumably explodes in the more inner portion that obviously is meant to be protected and is vital.
It stops, it freezes, and then it fizzles once, and then its arms go slack, as if its entire body can't move anymore, but its head still can, and kind of looks around. Its red light has turned blue, and it's sending out SOS signals. And it says, "Mayday, save our souls. Kowal 7 in danger. Kowal 7 in danger. Is there anyone there to answer our calls? SDSK, SDSK."
So it's like repeating this old distress signal.
Yes, it's an old recorded tune basically, but it's not repeating it. It's activating it like for the first time, it seems.
Oh, then I think that we should lie and we should pretend to be like the response team, and we should figure out what happened by being like, "This is SDSK response. What's happening at your location?"
I like it.
All right. So do the 4 of you get out of your mecha, or do you stay in the?
Freddy gets out.
I'm not getting out.
Yeah,
now.
if we think this is safe, I'll get out.
I think I want to stay in the mech. Like, it is an SDSK build. So if it requires proof, so I think I'll put it. I'll put all my weapons away and just like stand in a ready pose.
Evie and Freddy approach the guardian on their feet. It freezes when it sees the two of you. There's like a flicker in the light. When it looks up, it sees both the Bagani, the SDSK. It does like a quick scan, and it goes SDSK confirmed. And then as it says SDSK confirmed, a hatchet somewhere near, it's like where we would have our collarbones, it just slides open, and then out comes this blue shining orb, looking more like a crystal ball. And within, you can see, funnily enough, like an entire like sky and grass and people running around. And it says SDSK confirmed. SDG unit Cowl 7 speaking. Please keep them safe.
They're inside the orb?
Guardian unit Cowl 7 has performed its duties. A BA attack from Baknawa Armasan has made the space station too dangerous to stay in. As a last-ditch effort attempt, we have performed a powerful spiritual miracle. We have trapped the residents of Hudyat ng Wakas within a spirit ball. SDSK, they cannot be brought out. They must live in their idyllic lives until the spirit ball falls and fails. Keep them safe, SDSK.
Forced to live in a simulation.
I gasp and grab Freddy's hand, teasing a romance for later in the season. And then I step forward and I grab this spirit ball full of like 100 people who have been living in like fantasy sleep for a century.
When you take it out of the socket, it looks at the four of you and it goes, Cowl 7 thanks you from the depths of my soul. Cowl 7 has finished his duty. And then its blue light dissipates into Diwa. For a last glimpse, you see that same sort of liquid blue guy that you saw earlier. You see him sitting on top of the Cowl 7's head. And then his smile is happier now, just a bit happier. And then he stands up, and then he leaps into the sky and he dissipates into the spirit.
I turn back to Freddy and I look up to Louie and Tangerine in their Bagani and I just go, job well done? We found the living people.
A miraculous discovery.
This guy was holding the line for him for who knows how long. And he kind of pats the decommissioned mech and says, great job, buddy.
No kidding. Look, you can see them dancing in here.
Do we need to bring these people somewhere?
I mean, it's SDSK property and they might have the techs who'd be able to help decay the orb and get these people out.
Yeah, maybe we should bring it to a shaman or...
Anyway, it's kind of a happy ending, right? Like they didn't die. They're right here. Do you want to see?
On that note, the scene kind of like wipes, and then you guys are back in your trader ship. You're beginning your hyperdrive shoot back into SDSK space. Halmista, the SDSK broker that gave you the mission, kind of asks you what happened, and when you report to her that there is a spirit orb, her eyes kind of blink, and then she looks behind her. She says something you can't hear. And then she looks to you and she says, Maharlika, you have done a great job. Your payments have been wired. But you must bring the spirit orb as fast as possible to SDSK property.
Yes, ma'am. We don't want this ghost football.
The camera kind of pans out as as your trader class ship opens up. It's like light speed drive, and then it zooms off into the void.
We hope you enjoyed this bonus episode of Many Realms. Fun fact, we recorded this episode very early in the morning because Toronto, Canada and the Philippines are 13 hours apart. That's how much we love mecha stories. If you're new to Many Realms, we are an actual play podcast that specializes in short, exciting campaigns and one-shots exploring many genres and systems. We release fully transcribed episodes every 2 weeks, and we're starting a brand new Monster Hearts campaign very soon. Follow us online at The Realms Cast, and if you like this episode, tell a friend. If you want to be your own Maharlika, the Kickstarter ends February 18th, 2021. Wax, where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, once again, I'm Wax, Joaquin Saavedra. You can find me in Twitter as Liquor Kanini, almost anywhere as Liquor Kanini.
Cool. Why don't you tell us more about Our Shores?
The Our Shores Kickstarter not only has Maharlika, but it has Navathem's End, which is a cool tower fantasy game by Sin, also known as Diwata of Manila, who is also from the Philippines, and Capitalites, where you play as toxic Asians in an Asian city made by Bubblegum Sam from Malaysia. All three really great games and are like really good like symbols of what we're doing here in Southeast Asian RPG SEA. In addition to that, there's actually also zines from different parts of the SEA, from the Philippines, from Malaysia, from Indonesia. So if you really want to support the little like space that's growing here in Southeast Asia for RPGs, that Kickstarter is a great way to do so, because we can't actually access Kickstarter here in the Philippines. We need like someone in the States to do it for us.
Thanks for joining us on the podcast. That's all for now. Bye!